There, it's Nerdist Podcast, episode number 257. Premiering on the Nerdist channel on September 15th is a show that I'm super excited about called Nerd Turns. It's our actual interns from our Nerd Melt showroom, our little theater space at Meltdown Comics. These are the actual interns. We gave them some money. They wrote, directed, edited, produced, everything. This kind of Larry Sanders-esque version of their lives as interns at Meltdown, and the show is fucking hilarious, and I love them all so much. So, super fun show. Check it out. It's called Nerd Turns, and by the time you listen to this, it'll probably be up. That's over at youtube.com/Nerdist. I would like to thank Carbonite for being a sponsor of the Nerdist Podcast. Online backup. It's automatic. It's secure. It's for your home or your small business computer. It doesn't matter what you're doing with the computer. It's going to back up your files. It doesn't judge you whether you're using it for home or your small business. Plans start at just $59 a year. And then you back up all your files. So you can actually access all of your files from anywhere. And then if something disastrous happens and your hard drive crashes or whatever, it doesn't matter. You can laugh in the face. You can pull your hard drive out of your units and then just laugh at it and then spit in its metal face and say, I don't need you because I saved everything to Carbonite, so suck it, hard drive. And then you should probably have issues where you go talk to a psychotherapist because you're yelling at inanimate objects. I did. So it's Carbonite. Go to Carbonite.com. You're going to get 2 free bonus months with a purchase using the offer code NERDIST. Again, plans start at $59 a year. Carbonite.com. Use the offer code NERDIST. This episode is Michael Dorn. We've almost collected the entire cast of Star Trek: The Next Generation. And Dorn was great. Really wonderful guy. And he has a wonderful, mellifluous voice, which I'm sure you're aware of. If you listen to this podcast, you've probably seen Star Trek: The Next Generation. If not, I'm not judging you. Matt Myra would, but not me. Dorn has a Kickstarter going now. He wants to basically make a film called Through the Fire. So if you go to Kickstarter and look up Michael Dorn and or Through the Fire, there's still a couple, 3 weeks left as of the release of this podcast to raise their goal to produce this film that he wants to make with some of the other Star Trek actors. So go there after you listen to this podcast, or you can do it simultaneously because that's how audio podcasts work. So thanks for listening to the Nerdist Podcast, episode number 257 with Michael Dorn. Got to challenge this guy to bowling. We need to make a Star Trek. We need a next-gen all-star bowling cast. Whedon's in. LeVar Burton's in. I even think I can get Jerry Ryan in there for some sweet Trek crossover. I think we can make this happen. Go ahead and tweet Michael Dorn. It's at AKA Worf on Twitter. Let him know that Nerdist has dropped the bowling challenge. Damn. Nah, you just can't sound street or tough when you're talking about bowling.
Now entering Nerdist.com.
What time are you going to pee-pee? Pee-pee? Oh, fuck. Yesterday was, shoulder, doesn't seem like it should be helping.
Sounds great.
But it feels good.
Michael Dorn!
Hey.
How's it going?
What's going on? Hello. Hey, after good. I heard you could see him.
Hello.
How are you?
Chris.
Chris.
Nice to see you.
Hi, Jonah. Nice to meet you.
My pleasure.
Let's see.
Thank you.
And then we're pretty much recording.
Is this my pay for the day?
Yeah, you get a
there it
quarter.
is. We only get a half penny.
I know, half penny.
Actually, I have to cut old wheat pennies up into 4 pieces, and they each get.
We get 2 pieces. Chris gets.
That's how it works.
Can't wait till we start getting bits.
Welcome to the.
Doing well.
Yeah, dude.
I like it a lot.
I interviewed Michael and Marina on Attacking the Show
Oh, I know.
a couple weeks ago.
Well, actually, you interviewed Marina.
Yeah. Well, she was closest, and she talks a lot more than you do.
Did you Alpha 39 then?
No, I didn't quite.
Matt is such a Star Trek: The Next Generation fan that we came up with this game when LeVar was on called Alpha 39, which
It's not a game, it's a thing that
How-
should have been on the Enterprise. Would have helped everybody out.
Still sounds like a game.
What is
It's if you hit your communicator and then you say Alpha 39, it will beam you out of awkward situations.
So
something's going weird.
So in Matt's personal, what happened with LeVar is that Matt would start kind of geeking out about Star Trek, and then at a certain point, it would be just too awkward for LeVar, and then someone would go Alpha 39, and that's the bailout point of like, no more.
This
Not
is
a
a
bad
safe word.
idea.
Yeah, right?
Not a bad idea. They have the thing,
It's a safe word.
It's like a safe word, yeah.
where they say some emergency beam,
Right.
or something, but.
But this one just lets you know, it just brings you back to your
It
quarters.
should just be like you back to your quarters.
Yeah.
You should just do it and you just go, oh boy.
Oh, boy.
Or yeah. Or
Wow.
it can tell when you're starting to stretch your collar out away from your neck.
So these dumb mics actually, you kind of have to be a little on them,
Okay.
yeah, because then they look snazzier than they actually are.
Oh, okay, cool.
I apologize for
No,
it.
that's
but
all right.
You deserve better technology than what we're giving you
No,
today,
it's
Michael Dorn.
been.
The man flies jets.
I know. It's been 14, or excuse me, how long? It's been almost 20 years since we've been off the air, so, we take what we can get these days.
Well, what you got is Matt Myra.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Enjoy that, Michael.
that's good.
Over there. Thank you again for coming on. It's
No
a
problem.
pleasure. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'd been to the set a couple times
Mhm.
when you guys were shooting.
Next
And-
generation?
Next Generation,
Oh.
yeah. And I mean, I was just a snarky teen at the time, hanging out in Will's trailer. And
Now you're a snarky adult.
now I'm a snarky adult.
Not much has changed.
Not much has changed at all.
Exactly.
Same hairline,
Yeah.
you asshole.
Well, stop. I don't know if
There you
that's
go.
true. Actually, I don't know if that's 100% true. I look at old pictures and I feel like I see a little bit of a difference.
Yeah.
Do they stick together from the tears after you?
Yeah. It's just I cry and then you apply.
It's hard to see what it says because, the tears were running the ink off. Oh, God.
So what's going on? How's everything? What's up?
Very interesting. I thought I was retired last year.
Really?
Yeah, it had gotten to the point to where I was still working. People were calling, saying, "We'd love you to do this and that," but I just wasn't doing the auditioning and stuff like that I was before. And I went, "Cool, great. I'd rather play tennis and have lunch with my friends and travel and do all that type of stuff." And then at the beginning of the year, once again, it was like, "Great, And then all of a sudden, I started working more than I've ever worked. I mean, it's just crazy. I did a play back for 2 months. Well, we rehearsed for a month and did it for Shakespeare As You Like It, my first Shakespeare.
Wow.
Which was amazing. And then I've been doing these movies, that people have just been going, "Oh, we'd love to get Michael Dorn. Oh, we'd love to is he available?" And for some reason, these new agents I have and manager, they've just been going crazy.
They're ruining your good time.
They're ruining my good time.
Guys,
know what
come
it
on!
is?
I have a tennis match. I don't want
I know. It's like, what? I can't play this weekend? Oh, my, it's the worst.
The people that were my age that really grew up on Star Trek are now old enough to be making things, and they're like, "Get Michael Dorn."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
They want to.
It's very interesting how that thing is sort of like happening now, because before when we started, we get the, "Oh, I love your show," I'm a big fan, and now we're getting, "Oh, my dad was a big fan. And my mother made us watch," and neither they're big fans now themselves, or else they just hate it,
Well, I get that thing sometimes. I did a show in the '90s, and so I get now people go, "Oh, I watched your show," and I'm like, "Oh yeah." And they go, "Well, I wasn't supposed to because I was in 4th grade and my parents wouldn't let me." And I'm like, "This conversation's over.
Yeah, yeah,
I
exactly.
don't want to hear about how you were in 4th grade and I was a grown up."
Oh yeah. Well, the worst ones are the ones. Well, I wasn't born yet.
My friend was actually he was on a date with a girl, and then he was talking about like, "Oh, what kind of music do you like?" She's like, "Oh, all kinds." He's like, "Well, do you like what do you like, heavy metal?" She's like, "Well, no, not really." He's like, "Well, you like probably Guns N' Roses." She's like, "Well, I've heard of them. I've heard that name." He's like, "But Appetite for Destruction was one of the biggest albums of that year," and she's like, "Yeah, I don't know what year that come out." He's like, like '89. She's like, "Oh, see, I was born in '92." And the date was then over.
Ooch.
Who do you know is dating a 20-year-old?
I don't want to say his name.
call him Lucky. That's his nickname.
I think there's something interesting that happens. There's some sort of a weird. This is going to sound more new agey than I mean it to, but when you kind of release the need to, oh, I gotta work, I gotta be, and you kind of go, yeah, I'm comfortable. Something weird happens.
Something weird.
Where it
happens.
just kind of like, then it just
But
comes.
that's never going to happen for you.
What?
That moment.
No.
You're never going to not work.
No.
You're always going to be like, I gotta work.
Oh my God!
Please give me a job.
I have a freaking scythe in one hand and like a Freddy Krueger glove in the other, and I'm just fucking swinging as hard as I can
Well,
in
they
all
say
directions.
the best way to get a job, a really good job, is to plan, and this happens to us all the time, is to plan a really fabulous vacation.
A once in a lifetime.
Once in a lifetime, I'm going to, sail the Greek islands on a yacht with, and you will get that job that you can't turn down.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's happened to me like 5 times.
Yeah.
And
You don't get that deposit back.
No, you don't. And that's the thing. You can't fake it. You can't say, "Oh well, I'll just pretend." That you really have to be like on your way.
Oh yeah.
And the last time it happened, I was supposed to go to Greece because Marina's brother lives in Greece, and he and I are very good friends, and I've been trying to get there for years. And I had this trip all planned, ready to go, and the day that I was leaving, seriously, the day, I got a job that I couldn't turn down. It was like on Without a Trace, and it was a great role, and it was, top of the show, and all that stuff. And I went, and I called him. He says, "You got a job, didn't you?" And I said, "Yeah, I did."
Well, and not to make you feel bad, but the money that you would have infused into Greece's economy wasn't there.
Yeah.
You're kind of responsible
I'm
for the
kind
collapse of their
responsible
economy.
for that, yes.
But I hope it was a good show. Like, did you have fun working?
Yeah, it was great. It was in New York. I was there for like 2 weeks, and it was fantastic.
There's a lot of Greeks in New York. You
I
can
just,
pretend.
I just imagined a chart at like some Greek parliament meeting where they're showing the economy and like, this is our taxes are too low, and then there's a picture of Michael Dorn.
I know.
My brothers, once again, we have suffered from the Dorn effect.
And let me tell you something. And they're really good at curses too.
Yeah.
They believe that stuff like crazy. So Marina's always talking about, "Oh, I put a curse in. I'll put one of those Greek curses on."
One of those Greek
One of those
curses.
Greek curses, yeah. So. But besides that, it's been a fantastic year, And then we started with this Kickstarter thing that we had talked about, where it was one of those things where somebody asked me about the Star Trek fans, like how rabid are they? Do the Star Trek fans translate into real dollars?
Mhm.
Like at the box office and all these things. And I said, sure, of course. They have formulas and stuff like that. So we decided to see and put it to the test. And I love the technology of these. Kickstarter is just fantastic, and all those kind of sites that are doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's great because people that wouldn't have the ability to do movies or
Sure.
to do their TV shows or to do their records or their little projects, are getting the opportunity.
Kickstarter and Indiegogo and sites like that.
It's
Yeah.
just amazing. So we went on there, and we're right in the midst of it right now. So, and we'll see what happens. The thing I love about it, the guys that I'm working with don't share my little pie in the sky enthusiasm. Is that you really are going to find out. It really is one of those things where people ask you, and you can say emphatically no, yes, or it does work, or you need to do this, and it's sort of like one of those things where I'm just looking forward to seeing what the outcome is.
It's a
You never
science
know.
experiment.
It really is. See what it turns into. See if I can create a Frankenstein.
Any predictions? Any predictions?
Interestingly enough, the predictions are pretty good.
Okay.
We've learned that there's a lot of Star Trek fans with a lot of money out there.
Sure.
Not with the $30 or the $20, but with the thousands of dollars.
Sure.
So
So it depends on what those rewards are. If it's like dinner with you, then they're going to shell out.
the dinner with me, there was a join us at a convention where you're our guest.
Mhm.
There's a Star Trek Next Generation pinball machine.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah.
How much is that?
That's still in the box.
Don't tell him. Matt will buy that.
But you have to put it together.
It's 2 seconds to put together. It's like nothing.
Just put the legs on.
Just
ready
put the
to
legs
go.
on, plug it in, and it would be signed by all the.
What's the going rate of the Star Trek pinball machine?
It's gone.
Oh, sorry, Matt.
That's what I'm saying. Is
You
it's
just
like,
you just
That is one of the all-time best pinball machines. Like just the way that
Yeah.
game plays.
I like
It's
the
renowned.
I also like the classic Star Trek pinball with Kirk on the front of it. A friend of mine had one of those in his house, and it was really fun. Star Trek, I don't know, they really managed to those shows somehow port really well over to a pinball machine because you have missions.
There's actually a Kickstarter right now. Speaking of the Star Trek Next Generation pinball machine, to put that on the iPad platform.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're trying to
wow.
raise like 60,000 so they can get the Star Trek licenses so they can recreate that
I have
pinball
a,
machine.
I have a
Wow.
pinball game on my iPad. It is kind of confusing, just because the entire screen moves along with the ball, so it's kind of hard to.
Oh no! I think the way I've seen this one, it'll go for Xbox and PlayStation.
Oh, okay,
and all
yeah.
that
Mine was a
stuff.
Slayer pinball
Oh, well,
game.
there you go.
You know what? I'll tell you what they should do is someone like Think Geek should basically make like a mini pinball machine that's a dock, and then you put your iPad up.
Oh, like
For-
when Atari has the little
Exactly.
game console.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And then you can play it that way. That's a good idea. Guys, why are we not making millions of dollars off this right now?
Are you
Because somebody someplace has that.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Damn it.
Are you worried about the almost like that episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm where Larry David, because of a contest, has to have lunch with a fan and just doesn't know what to talk to him about?
Not really. Our fans want to talk about Star Trek.
Yeah.
And they really want to know what it was like, and behind the scenes, and who was Marina, who did she love on the show, and who did Jonathan want to work with, and things like that, and what's coming up. And they just want to interact.
Were his eyes that piercing in person?
Was what?
His eyes that piercing in person, Jonathan Frakes? I mean, they look,
Oh, yes.
yeah.
Well, Johnny.
Especially in HD.
Yeah. Oh God. And Johnny was, when we basically kind of started out the same time and everything like that, and we had the male model roles, and so he had the eyes, and he was a hot looking guy, and he had all those bad boyfriend roles and things like that. I had the good boyfriend roles where I never got lucky, and he was the one where where he ripped people off, and it was great. But no, he was piercing blue. Marina's eyes were huge.
Yeah.
Couldn't really see LeVar's eyes, which was
He wanted to
always
keep
a
him
little
hidden.
creepy to me. But
He was silently judging everyone behind the visor.
Totally.
Did he ever slept on the set? No one noticed?
Yes, he did.
Did he really?
Patrick Stewart on the podcast told the story about how he fell asleep during a scene where LeVar fell asleep during a scene, and they basically just did the scene around him because he fell asleep behind the visor.
Patrick fell asleep in his chair.
He mentioned that he said it was on it was like a close up, and he passed out.
And they were lighting or something, and he just which is always my favorite.
I want to find out the decision. Is there any backstory, like with Frakes, when the beard decision happened?
Well, the second season, but I don't know why it happened.
Was that a him decision, or was that a?
I think it was a him decision. I think Johnny wanted to kind of separate himself or maybe he just didn't want to shave anymore. but actually, you got a beard. It's more trouble. But I think that was a him decision.
Dorn's got the forehead. I need a beard.
I need something.
I can't do an appliance. I need to grow an appliance.
I had a beard too, so maybe he said, well, maybe Riker needs it. But at the time, what I heard was Riker was almost too good. He was almost too much of a good guy.
Oh, okay.
They wanted to give him some kind of little edge to him.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes him look like a pirate,
I guess it does. They could have made him a klepto. I would have loved to
Makes
have
him
seen
kind of look like the cokehead from Die Hard.
Hey, Hans. Hey,
Exactly.
Picard, hang on a sec. I can handle this.
Yeah.
Hey, man, this is radio. It's not real.
Listen, Ferengi, you got something you want. I got something I want. Blam. And he does.
From your Kickstarter video, though, one of the things I found fascinating was that you were on the set of Mary Tyler Moore.
Yes.
What? Hey,
Last
what?
2 seasons.
Doing what?
I went there. One of my best friends in high school, his dad was assistant director on the show, and I wanted to get in the business to be a director. And they said, "Hey, come." They were very sweet about this thing. I really like these guys, and they said, "Come, you can hang out with us. You can shadow our directors. You can be a PA and all this type of stuff, and see what it's like." And especially on that show, I mean, it was like a well-oiled machine, and it was just funny. And the actors were great, and it was just ran like clockwork. And so I really got a good taste of it. And then they said, look, if you want to make some extra money, why don't you work as an extra 1 day a week?
Whoa.
In the newsroom. And I was like, I'm 25 or something. Sure. And so I was there. In fact, in the last 2 years of the show, if you look back there, you won't recognize me because I got a big afro
And a mustache?
and glasses.
I loved the afro mustache combo.
It was big. In fact, I shaved it off because my acting coach that I went. What happened is I went back to acting school after I discovered I really loved it, and he said, "Michael, you've got to shave off that mustache." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I love my mustache." He says, "That's the problem, because every time you walk into a set, you're like." Hi. I'm Michael Dorn, and this is my mustache.
That's a book title.
Oh,
Why is that not your
it
book?
was. It was like, I just, and I could see myself in a lot of shows where I'm talking, and I'm like the Tom Selleck, Black Tom Selleck, And when I shaved it off, I felt naked. I was like, oh my god, they can see me, but it made my my auditions and my acting stuff go through the roof.
I don't know who this uninteresting mustacheless fellow is, but he's got something.
He's got something.
What was the Mary Tyler? I mean, any good Ted Knight Coke stories? Come on.
Those guys were no
Yeah,
drugs.
man,
There was no nothing. There was nothing like that.
I heard the set of Caddyshack was like a ski slope.
Well, that was probably Chevy Chase's.
But not Ted.
Not Ted. Okay, that's good to know.
No. I mean, those guys. I just learned a lot about comedy. I mean, if you look at sitcoms, I don't know if you guys have been on a sitcom stage.
Yes.
But there is the actors, and then there's this horde of people, producers and agents and things like that are on the floor too. And they do one bit, and then they have to huddle, and then they change it. And they change it again, and they do it 4 or 5 times, where these guys, they wrote it, they did it, and occasionally some guy would say, do this again, and it would be even funnier. But it wasn't the